So what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is working on a character and breaking down the cartoon. So I've started here with 2 different cartoons. I'm aiming to get to different age groups. So I have Peppa Pig for the little schools, and then I have SpongeBob maybe for the 2nd through 5th grade group. So let's start out with Peppa, a little bit easier. And what I want to show you first, and if you're looking at the Pokemon Pikachu that I've added to the Google Slides, you could see that I break down the character using shapes. So I'm going to do this right now with Peppa. Okay, so that gives me a basic idea of how I would want to start with a sketch. So I'm going to grab a piece of computer paper that I have, okay, and I'm just going to start out using pencil with the shapes that I just sketched. And I'm using light lines. I'm going back over, very similar to our first project that we sketched some of the objects that we brought in with us. Just trying to figure out the height. So this is a little bit shorter and wider. Okay. So now that I have those basic shapes, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to clean up some of the drawing using those shapes. And again, this is in pencil. The reason you're doing this in pencil is so you can go back in and erase. If this technique does not work for you, you can just go for it. Sometimes certain cartoons, it's easier just to go for it. Maybe it's a cartoon you've drawn a ton of times. That's fine. That. So again, you're thinking about negative shapes, negative space. Use the information that's available. I'm now seeing. And I'm going to show you a little trick also if you over sketch or you get too dark on here, what we can do to fix that. Yeah, I want to just change that up. I'm going to retrace this. Okay. It's kind of a weird shaped character now that I'm looking at it more. All right, this looks pretty good. I would say that looks like Peppa. It resembles Peppa. So the next part of our assignment is to turn this into more of a Garden City style theme. So pineapples, the Trojan, a Garden City t-shirt. So what I'm gonna do with Peppa, I'm gonna give her a balloon. It's gonna be tied on her wrist. Or maybe I'll do 2 balloons, a G and a C. And I'll go in front. And maybe I could puff these up. I can turn them into hearts. Maybe I'll put a pineapple on Peppa's outfit. I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to go back in and outline with Sharpie, and I'm going to use 2 different Sharpies. I have a thick one and a thinner one that I was able to find. If you don't have one or the other, that's fine. You could use a pen if you want to. I just want you to give this a nice dark outline, so when I send this over to the other teachers, it's able to translate to coloring book. So anything black, the eyes can fill in. I mean, Peppa has somewhat of a thick outline, so I may actually try and do that where that pink is. So this is when you want to make sure you're going back in, tracing the important stuff. I am not drawing through like I would with a pencil. Be mindful of that. There's a few things you can do. You can give this a moment to dry a little bit, and then you can go back in and erase. Or if you want to skip that step, you can trace. Mine is actually pretty see-through. I'm able to see it, but I'm going to jump on a window And I am going to use that like light box, so I'll be back in a second. So I changed it up a little bit. Let me go back in with that thinner Sharpie. So I made the balloons slightly bigger, and I'm actually gonna make this larger on the computer so it's easier for the kids to color in all of those small details. And Peppa was pretty darn hard. I thought Peppa was gonna be much easier to do, but it has that, oh my God, I totally forgot his tail. Her tail. But it has that look that, you know, it was drawn. I don't know if that was intentional to make it look childlike and have that imagination. That is an interesting loop of a tail, but we're gonna make it work. But there you go. Now I have the option if I want to include the background, which I think would be nice for the kiddos. And it's pretty simple. Okay, I don't want to get too crazy. These cute little clouds. Love those GC balloons. All right, so that's Peppa. Again, SpongeBob, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I start SpongeBob a little bit different, but I'm gonna break SpongeBob down into shapes. So I'm gonna show you a little bit of a different way to approach SpongeBob. This is, okay, that's enough information for me. I could see this is the top half, this is gonna be the pants, and then the legs. So I'm gonna try my best, way back to portrait drawing. I'm gonna use some guidelines to help me. The nose seems to be in the middle. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with that. You can look around and see if there are tracers at home that you have. You may have stencils, you may have objects that are around that you could use. And while I'm sketching this, I'm already starting to think, okay, how do I want to incorporate Garden City? When working on famous characters like SpongeBob, you really need to pay attention to the details, because those kids that watch SpongeBob, it's super recognizable. So they would know if something was off. Okay, so I have an idea what I'm gonna do with the arms. I think he's gonna hold up a sign. So I'm gonna hold off on that for a second. Just imagining what's gonna happen with his arms. So I would imagine they're gonna come down, and then we're gonna see the hands above. So he has 4 fingers. If he's holding it how I want, thumbs are gonna be on the inside.